Okay, part 2 of the KABAR Marine Combat Knife. If you saw part 1, I pretty much just showed you that camelus version from 1996. Great knife, especially for the money. It's this one right here. But it's old-fashioned. In fact, it's the same style, basically, other than my upgraded nylon sheath. It's the same style as the Marine Combat Knives of World War II. Stacked leather handle. Well, KABAR, the company KABAR, upgraded their knives several years ago. This is not new. And this is a version of that knife. This is the KABAR utility knife. It's basically a marine combat knife in sage green. They may refer to it as olive drab, but this is really a light sage green. It's a beautiful color. And again, there's so much to talk about. Let's rock and roll here. First off, the color is great and the sheath is great. And I'm going to compare and contrast two sheaths by the company KABAR. So we're going to look at this one. This is our utility sheath that just came to me the last week. This is a brand new knife, haven't used it, and this is the sheath they're issuing. As we go back in time, this is the previous sheath. This knife is about 4 years old. This is a next generation KABAR. Notice that the cross strap is gone, that they dispense with it nowadays, and I think that's a smart decision. You do not need this cross strap because it locks into the plastic sheath and it also attaches with the cross strap there. And then circa probably about 1998 on this blade is the next generation KABAR. Now by next generation, what I'm telling you is that this is a stainless steel KABAR knife. It is not 1095 that they've chosen for whatever reason 440 steel. I think it's a 440A steel with a very good heat temper, I might add, but it's still 440A. Wish they chose something else, but that's just what they chose. Now, let's be honest here. The KABAR is a very, very high value knife. Now, if you've watched my knife videos, I call them KRVs, my knife review videos, you may think I'm a knife snob, that I really like upper end blades. Hopefully you don't, and hopefully you'll see that most of my videos are on knives just like this KABAR Marine Combat Knife that are very high value knives. In other words, you're getting a lot of knife for the money, and I really like that. Those are my favorite blades. Now once in a while I'll go outside that venue or that mission statement and I'll get an expensive knife. Expensive for me is anything over 200. In fact, to me that's really expensive. But there's so many knives under $100 that you can get just like this one that are outstanding. But again, they don't make this specific version of the next generation KABAR Marine Combat Knife anymore. Let me show you what this version had. First off, it had a Kydex sheath. Okay, and that's a really nice sheath. I like it a lot. However, I think their newer one in this utility knife is just as good, if not better. And I'll explain why. Running out of time, we will at least, so I better talk fast. Okay, the Kydex on this older next generation KABAR is very rugged. It's Kydex, and Kydex is more stable than plastic with heat and whatnot. It's tougher. However, the way they designed it is kind of hokey in that you can see the slide-on groove for your belt. Good luck trying to get a military web belt in there. Been there, done it, tried it, doesn't work well. So what they did is they put an extension on it, and it's a fold-over nylon extension. Okay, and this does work, and it attaches well, and it's a quick attach method. So it just folds over your web belt right here. We lock it with both Velcro and a snap, military grade snap, so it works well. Okay, so not bad. However, this design on this circa 1998, and I might be off a few years on that, but it's around that time frame. The design of this sheath is a little bit heavier. The whole package together is 17.5 ounces versus the newer KABARs, which are 15.6 with a plastic sheath. And I'm going to talk about the features on that sheath too here in just a sec. Let's discuss this knife though in particular. And it's interesting to compare and contrast this next generation KABAR, which I really ought to get my dates. Let's see, I bought that next generation one. Okay, this one I bought in 2004, this one 1999. So there's your dates. Okay, this is my 1999 next generation. Wonderful knife. By the way, to get it out of the sheath is kind of tricky. You got to push that down and then extract. And yes, this particular blade is in combo edge. Stainless steel 440. Good tempering. Now, we talked about part one about the blade shape. Great Bowie clip shape, how the Marines extended it to 7 inches. They found that's the ideal shape for both combat and utility purposes. Tang stamped by that wonderful company, KABAR in Olean, New York. Awesome. Let's talk about the wood splitting capability of the KABAR. It is a good wood splitter. It is not a great wood splitter, to be honest. The reason that is because one, the grind of the knife starts at about the 3/4 position down. It's not a full flat grind just by its design. Never has been. Compare that to like the Rat 7 or the Cold Steel Trailmaster or the Cold Steel Recon Scout. Also, I have videos on those. Those are the best wood splitting knives I've ever seen. The reason it doesn't split wood so great is it's not a wedge shape. And you have flats on the side of the blade. See those flat areas here? So as we drive this blade batoning through a big old log to split it for fire purposes, maybe shelter purposes, whatever you're doing, I have found that this does work adequately. It's a good wood splitter. It's not a great wood splitter. And that's because these flats can get stuck in your log. Now, if you're batoning through wood, you should always have a lubricant. I use WD-40. Anything works that you just spray the blade with. And what it does is it lubricates those flats that as you drive it through the wood, it's able to split a lot better and it won't get stuck. So that's a little note about the KABAR Marine Combat if you would split with it. Always lubricate it. Good wood splitter, not great. I've never had any problems either with the next generation or the 1095 models in toughness. I've never seen a blade broken. I've never seen them wanting for toughness. I highly recommend them for an all-around good survival blade in the woods. You just cannot beat them for the price. And the weight. They're relatively light. I mean, like we said, this one is 15.2 ounces overall. That's pretty light for a 7-inch full-size blade. On this older 1999 next generation, it has a bead blasted finish. Very good looking. And yes, I have the combo edge in this. I don't mind the combo edge in the Marine Combat knife. And I like how it's very radiused. It's a smooth combo edge, so it won't rip. It will cut efficiently. The reason I don't mind it is because I got enough of a run of plain edge. So I have a good plain edge run here, and then at the hilt area I have my serrated. So if I need to cut some rope or sinewy material, I got it. Great job. Yes, I've resharpened and reprofiled this blade as well. I do them on all of them. I like that shallower grind. It just cuts so much better. This is a cast guard. Now notice against the 1095 version, we don't have so much of an upper guard here. So that's not really good. However, the bottom one is fine for your index finger, and both with gloved and bare hands I find it's effective. And then we get to the handle, and man, what an improvement this handle is. It's the Craton handle, the rubberish handle, versus that old stacked leather one. It just will not retain water. It's slip resistant when wet. It's relatively durable. I love it. Also, it mitigates shock as we're batoning that blade through wood. And also, as you baton, you want to pretty much keep that blade level, in my experience. And that also helps. It's comfortable as you pound that blade through. It's got a powdered metal butt cap, and I think I misspoke. The Camless doesn't. I think it's just a stamped metal butt cap. But this one's a powdered metal, which means it's pretty strong. It is pinned. You can see the pin in there. So I've never seen any of these work their way off as I've pounded on them. Never. It is a full Tang design. And I would not critique the strength of the next gen. I told you we'd run out of time, and here we go. This is the 2004 next gen. To save cost, what they did is they epoxy coated the blade. Notice that beautiful but more expensive bead blasting is bye-bye. They basically painted the blade. So that's a shame, because I think the bead blasting is much more attractive, much more cooler. By the way, we're going to have a part 3 on this series. I'm going to have to cover this knife in a separate video. I'll do that. Anyways, that's the epoxy coating on that blade. It's nice. I like it. It does wear off. You can see I've worked this knife over a little bit and in the woods. But this is the 2004 next gen. I'm running out of time, so I'll talk about its sheath and the other knife here in the next video. But I'm really sad to see the bead blasting gone and they're epoxy coating it. But however, I think one of their key selling points is the affordability of these knives. And the next generation and the 1095 KABARs are very reasonable. I'll talk about the prices in part 3 of the KABAR Marine Combat knife. Thanks for watching. Here comes part 3 in a sec.